final. And Hatchin! What a magnificent goal!
Good evening and welcome to All Things Sky Blue Transfer Talk. Yes, this is our second Transfer Talk show. This time we're going to be talking about centre-backs. Our first one, if you haven't watched it already, was about goalkeepers and fullbacks, and this one is about centre-backs. Before I bring my guests in, please remember where you can find us: X or Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, podcasts, so you can get them on Amazon, Spotify, or wherever else that you get your podcasts from. If you listen to us, please go and rate us 5 stars. If you watch us on YouTube, please go and like and subscribe. We're sponsored by Right Steel Fabrications. His logo's in the corner over here somewhere. He can do your steel fabrication work up and down the country, but mainly the Coventry and Warwickshire area. We are partnered with the Anecdote Sports Bar at the CVS Arena, and also partnered with the Anecdote Sports Bar, the Sky Blue Tavern in Coventry City Centre. You will notice that I'm in exactly the same place as I did the first one. The reason being is we've done 2 recordings on the same night because the internet went down, or StreamYard went down a few weeks ago when we were supposed to record, hence why we're doing 2 in the same night. But like I said, the first one's already been out, and this is the second one. So without further ado, let me bring in my guests, which is Cameron. Good evening, Cameron. You okay again?
Good evening. I'm not too bad. How are you doing?
Not too bad, thank you. Not too bad. And my second guest is Glenn. Good evening, Glenn. You okay?
I'm all right. I'm going to try not to upset you this time.
Oh, you won't upset me, buddy. I'm just trying to get everybody in because I'm knocking everybody out. So I hope everybody is well and looking forward to our next instalment of Transfer Talk, which obviously, as I've already mentioned, we're going to be talking about centre-backs. So let's go straight into it. We've got 1, 2, 3. We've got 4 centre-backs. We've got Bobby Thomas. We've got Liam Kitchen. We've got Louis Binks. And we've got Joel Latibeaudiere. Now, Joel, we know, as I've mentioned in the first one about fullbacks, he has played right-back as well. But I think he has played more predominantly as a centre-half than he has right-back. He's kind of covered at right-back sort of when Milan was out for a couple of games. But I think when we've really needed him, he has been the centre-back. That's why I've put him in this category. So let's talk about Lati first of all then. For me, I'm a big fan of Lati. He can play a number of positions. Before we signed Grimes, I would like to have seen him in midfield. But now we've signed Grimes, I think he is used more as a centre-half cover, right-back cover, because I think we've upgraded that position. What's your thoughts, Glenn, on Joel Latibeaudiere?
Leader in the dressing room, good squad player, good character. Keep him. Yeah, he's got a role to play within the team. I just think he needs to nail down a position in the team. I think his utility kind of works against him, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree. Cameron?
Yeah, utility option, a decent cover to Thomas, although I think we could potentially upgrade, but I don't really mind Lati staying here for another year because I think he's got another year on his contract here anyway. He signed as a free agent. I think we paid a bit of compensation due to his age. So I think it's a case where maybe he sticks around for one more year before he leaves. But in the meantime, very solid utility option.
Yeah, obviously, when we first signed him, I saw the utility part of things as a plus. But I think now we've upgraded, obviously, the midfield options. And with the form, I suppose, of Liam Kitchen in the sort of the second part of the season, I think it's definitely hindered him getting in the side. I think it is more a hindrance now because of them reasons, really. So talking about Liam Kitchen, started off, quite slowly. People didn't like him, talking about a League One sort of player, had a few disciplinary issues as well, which kind of kept him out. Then his form. But the second half of last season, Cam, him and Bobby Thomas just ran that central defence, didn't they? We were always a little bit more leaky at the back anyway, before we signed Grimes, but especially when we got Grimes in there as well, Liam Kitchen started to show the form that we wanted to see, didn't he?
Yeah, well, 100%. I'm really happy for Kitchen. I think he still loves a yellow, but we're not in a situation where he'll get a needless red, because I think he got 3 the season before, and I think that is to be celebrated, because I think he's come a long way discipline-wise. He'll probably still pick up 8 to 10 yellow cards a season, but that's because he's a combative centre-half you go into. But I think he's come leaps and bounds. I think he still has the odd error in him, but that's probably why he's still in the Championship, because I think what you get is a 8 times out of 10 a solid Championship defender who he's improving as well. I think he's improving by game. He's aggressive, he's assertive in the tackle, and I think next season he'll have a point to prove, especially since Lampard, I think, wants to sign a centre back, so that'll make him hungry, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Glenn, what do you think about Kitchen?
I think I just want more from him. I don't think we've seen the best of him. Yeah, I think he can improve on his passing. Yeah, I just still think he has these odd lapses of concentration. And he has this awful habit, him and Thomas do, of appealing for offside and stopping. And I hate that. Play to the whistle. And yeah, that's the only downside. I think we can do better, but I think to do better is going to cost us money. Yeah,
totally agree. Again, Liam Kitchen for me, he does have the lapse in concentration, as you guys have mentioned, but he's also got that bombing run that splits defenders, because they splits midfield and splits defenders because they don't expect it, and he goes through. I remember a game at home, I think, and he ran through. The ball went to Torp lifted it over, and I think Sakamoto whipped a crossover and we scored from it. I think something like that. Anyway, he's got that in his locker, and I want to see more of that. But I think you're right. I think we are looking to upgrade, but Liam can stamp his own authority on it as well. He has got a few more years, I think, left on his contract, so I think there's definitely a player there, and we need to make sure that he's fighting for his place, because I think that's where you'll see the best Liam Kitchen, really. So another left-sided centre-back that we probably expected a lot more bigger things from that actually came out. We were expecting him to take Liam Kitchen's position. Me personally, I thought he was probably the best technical defender that we've got, but he just, for some reason this year, I think like a lot of players, he just struggled at the start of the season to gain any momentum, and then we had the manager change. Liam Kitchen came into a bit of form, as we've already mentioned, but Louis Binks flattered to deceive this season, didn't he, Glenn?
Yeah, I think we saw spells of him looking really good. I think of the Luton at home game, where second half he was marauding, he was really good. He can hit a ball, he's got a good pass on him, but then he just sometimes, like I said, he just makes the mistake, which I think is kind of the theme of all our forward centre halves. They all have this mistake or lapse of judgment, or they lose the man. And yeah, there's a footballer there in Louis Binks, but I don't know what to do to get it out of him. I think he kind of lives a bit over smashing Fernandez in the FA Cup semi-final, and is like marauding run forward where we got the penalty. I think they're kind of the highlights over him. I don't think he dominates the air enough for a player of his size. And I just think, I want more, and I think we could do better. And I kind of feel a bit, mug's probably the wrong word, but I'm not convinced he was the great signing that we all thought he was going to be.
Yeah, definitely. Cameron, how are you feeling about Louis Binks?
I don't think much of it at all.
Okay.
And if he went, I wouldn't be too upset over it either. I'm just not sold on him. I'm sorry.
Okay, fair enough.
I think he's got a great diagonal ball on him, and he'll probably pass it. He'll probably pass a lot of eye tests. If football matches were determined on how pretty someone looked when they passed the ball and stuff. But there's just a lot of things about his defensive side of the game I don't like. I think he gets bullied too easily at times, and
Okay.
I think in the championship that is not acceptable.
Okay, fair enough. Strong opinion there on Louis Binks from Cam. Thank you very much, Cam. So obviously the next centre half that we're obviously going to talk about is Bommy Thomas. Potentially maybe a vice captain or a captaincy option. He was ever present for us throughout the whole of the season. Maybe one of the, I don't want to say maybe shining lights, but he was probably the best defender that we had this season. Come up with some really important goals and really important challenges. For me, I like him a lot. Can we upgrade on Bobby Thomas? Potentially, yes. But again, as Glenn said about Liam Kitchen, it's going to cost us money. And I think at the moment, Bobby Thomas has got that right centre-half slot. If we continue to play with a 4, we may end up playing with a 3, depending on what Lampard wants to do this season. Again, something that we don't know. How are you feeling about Bobby Thomas, Cam?
I think he's brilliant. I think, especially under Lampard, I think he's come on leaps and bounds. I think he's been fantastic. I really do. Those important goals against QPR, against Stoke. I think his passing, which was a big criticism of his. I think, well, it's not perfect. It's not going to be. He's not that type of centre half. He's more of a in your face, I'm going to bully you centre half. But I think even that's improved because although he's more about winning duels, he can still spray a ball into a good position. He can still find a through pass. And I just think, when it comes to winning duels, I think his dual success rate is getting better and better all the time. And I think, and I don't think we can upgrade on Bobby because I think Bobby is part of this team's spine now. And I think we should be doing what we can to make sure he is in the 11. He is that important, in my opinion.
Okay, fair enough. Do you agree with Cam, Glenn?
I'm going to be a bit controversial. I think as good as all these late goals and heady goals he scores, he does some really, really sloppy, dumb things. He has this thing where he runs forward and he tries this little silly flick pass. And I've seen him do it 5 or 6 times over the season. And 9 times out of 10, he gives the ball away. And I'm like, why are you doing that? I think his passing at times leaves a lot to be desired. I'm worried that hasn't improved. I just think as much as the same as all the others. I think he's more got credit in the bank because of the goals he scored. I do think he's at times made some really poor decisions defensively, and I want better from him. I think Derby away is one of the times. I think one of the first goal, him and Kitchen should be putting their head on it and they're down, and they tend to lose the man. But he's definitely a weapon for us in the opposition box. But yeah, I do think he's somebody. If a Premier League club offered me a stupid amount of money, if Burnley come and offered me 5 million plus for him, I probably might be tempted to take it because I think we can get better defenders in.
Okay.
But I do like the bloke. I do think he can kick on, but I think this is the season where I want him to basically nail himself down as first choice, and I think push himself to be captain material. I think I don't want him to have like a off season. You know what I mean? I want him to kick on.
I think the thing I'll argue is last season, like we know, like there were times where the two centre halves struggled, where like no centre half really got consistent game time, but one of them did, and that was Thomas. I don't think Thomas was ever dropped. If Thomas was dropped, it was because he's a bit tired and needed to rest for a few games. I think the fact that was the case was no accident. I really do think he done really well last season, and I think he'll kick on. So if anyone I wouldn't want leaving, it is Bobby. I really do rate Bobby that highly.
Okay, fair enough. As we did before for the other ones, then I'm going to come up with keep, sell, bench. So each for the centre halves. So the first one, Cam, I'll come to you first. Keep, sell, bench, Joel Latibeaudiere.
Bench.
Okay, Glenn.
Sell if we get the right price.
Okay, Glenn. Louis Binks, the same.
Sell if we get the right price.
Okay, Cam.
Sell.
Okay, Liam Kitchen, Cam.
Keep/bench. It depends if we get a better centre half.
Okay, Glenn.
Sell as long as we make our money back, or as near enough to make our money back.
Okay, and Bobby Thomas, Glenn.
Keep unless we get silly money offer.
Okay, Cam.
Keep, and no one can have him.
Fair enough, Cam.
Thank you very much. For me, I would bench Latty. I would probably sell Louis Binks. I would bench Kitchen, and I would keep Thomas. That would probably be for me. Thomas, again, as I already mentioned, I think we might be able to upgrade. But I understand what Cam's saying. He was ever present and he is a threat. And I think with being under Lampard's tutelage, if you like, for another season, I think that might make him a better player. It certainly made Liam Kitchen a better player when Lampard came in. But Lampard, I felt, made everybody better. You know, midfielders and attackers. Well, not attackers necessarily, but definitely midfielders and fullbacks, I suppose, as well. You could include in that, getting better as well. So thank you very much for that, you two. So on to the transfers then. As always, I've asked them to give me three different options. It can be 3 loans, it can be 3 permanents, it can be 3 free transfers. The way that I've done it is the way that I've always tried to do it, and that's 1 free transfer, 1 loan signing, and 1 money that you purchase, if you like, on a transfer. These guys may have done it differently, so we will find out. So this time we will start with Cameron. So Cam, give us your first centre-back.
My first centre-back is Anselmo Garcia McNulty. He plays for Pexvolle. He played 34 times last season in the Eredivisie. He only scored once. A fun fact about him is that he actually played every single possible minute in the Eredivisie last season.
Wow!
Every single possible minute. Left-footed, and I think we're looking at the things he excels in. Potentially a cheaper alternative to Callum Doyle, an Ireland youth international, and potentially a future Ireland international.
Nice. Have you heard of him, Glenn?
Yeah, he's on my list, but I like Cam have him. He could also play left back, and there's rumours going around that potentially Stoke are looking at him, or he may well be coming to England. So yeah, he's. I would imagine the Eredivisie is somewhere where English clubs have targeted for British talent.
Okay, fair enough. Glenn, then your first one.
It'll be kind of no surprise because I kind of hinted at it in the last one. I watched the England under-21s v Spain, and I thought Charlie Creswell, who was formerly at Leeds and been at Millwall, literally just headed everything away. It was kind of a McFadden-esque performance. Yeah. and he's got a bit of a nasty streak, and it all kicked off at the end. He wanted to knock the paella out of some of the Spanish players. Really like it. He's at Toulouse at the moment. He's obviously someone I think who's been on the COV radar in the past, and I think if I wouldn't be averse to dropping 4 or 5 million on him, because I think he's got the ability to improve and get better. I think he's almost a natural leader, which for someone of quite a young age, I think is really positive. And he's got experience from playing abroad. And obviously he's part of a England under-21 side, which hopefully Lee Carsley will go back-to-back with in terms of winning the trophy.
Nice. I think, again, 2 years ago when we first did the transfer talk, I actually mentioned Charlie Cresswell back then, I think, or somebody did anyway. I remember him coming out. I'm sure it was me that mentioned him. I like him a lot. I think he's a brilliant player, and I think that could be because I think he's right-sided, isn't he, Glenn?
Yeah, he plays right-sided.
I think that would be an upgrade, if I'm honest, on Thomas potentially, but it would be a great option to have them both there as an option. Cam, what do you think to Cresswell?
I think he'd be a brilliant signing, but I'm not sure how realistic it is. I'm hearing like teams like West Ham. I won't be surprised if the Wolves were interested. I've also heard Como in Italy mentioned. I think he had a really impressive year in France with Toulouse. So I'd love it to happen. How realistic it is, I'm not sure, but I do admire the ambition.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. My first one, I'm going to go. This is a little bit out there as well because again, I'm not sure how realistic this will. I think his wage would be too much for us, if I'm honest. But it is a free transfer, so you never know what we can do. And it's actually Jamal Lascelles from Newcastle. He's 31. Obviously, he's Newcastle captain, but they're going to be, in the market probably for new, younger centre-backs. So, he might find himself limited for game time unless he has signed a new contract, which I didn't notice. It does finish June the 30th this year. So he is available from July. I know he has had injuries, so that would be one concern. But I think when he's fit, again, I think it's a slight upgrade on Thomas. I know Thomas is younger, but I think it's a slight upgrade because he does play on that right-hand side of defence as well. So what do you think, Cam, to Jamal Lascelles?
That's a name I've not heard of in a while. I think it's a case where he'll probably leave Newcastle. Wherever he goes next, he'll have a point to prove. I don't think he did a lot wrong at Newcastle. Just unlucky with injuries, and then obviously Newcastle got taken over by the Saudi Arabian owners who have put a lot of money, which has allowed them to get some of Europe's best talent. And unfortunately, that just means you're not going to get the same opportunities anymore. So maybe a drop to the Championship could do some good.
Okay, Glenn.
Yeah, the only thing I would say is I'd probably be worried maybe a Premier League side would take him, possibly one of the teams that have gone up, because he is a natural leader. Obviously, I think he's been Newcastle captain. I think he was Forest captain. I think he might have been at both when they got out of the Championship. So, yeah, definitely somebody I wouldn't be adverse to a short-term signing like that as a step in the right direction.
Okay, excellent. You have to excuse me, I can't remember who went first. So, Glenn, will you give us your second one?
The second one I'm going to do is I'm probably going to butcher his name. I think it's Erin Cashin, who was at Derby.
Yes, Derby.
And has gone to Brighton. He would be someone that Frank Lampard would be aware of because he was at Derby's academy when Lampard was there as a manager. Apparently Brighton are looking to loan him out to get him some game time. He's obviously on the verge of Ireland. I think he might have been captain at Derby. He's played a bit of Championship football, obviously on a loan. I think he's someone that would maybe be a step up on what we've got.
Yeah, Cam, have you heard of Erin Cashin?
Yeah, I actually think that's a no-brainer. You can get him on loan. I thought he made the step up to the championship look effortless when Derby came up. Brighton has snapped him up, but unfortunately he's found game time a bit hard to come by at Brighton. Not really his fault. It's just the step up to the Championship to Premier League. It's a really, really big step. I think where he's at currently, a playoff chasing / promotion chasing Championship side, which is Coventry at this present time, would be a very good place for him. With him, say in the next year or next 2 years, just help him hone his craft and develop his game before he gets one more opportunity at Brighton. So yeah, that is a great shout.
Yeah, I like Kevin Cashin a lot. I think he scored a couple of goals as well for Derby. I think may have got a couple of assists as well. So yeah, like Cashin a lot. I think is a really good shout and a really good player. I didn't mention him. He isn't in my list because we have been linked with him, and I am trying to stay away from players that we've already been linked with. I've tried to come up with different names, but yeah, no, great shout, Glenn. Cam, your second one.
My second one, he plays in the Austrian league. Without trying to butcher it, his name is Chibruki Nwaru. He is a Nigerian centre half. He's around 6'4". He plays for Wolfsberger. This was his first season in Wolfsberger because he was kind of a gem that went under the radar. He signed on a free from Nigerian side, Enraimba, and he absolutely blossomed. Played 25 games, scored 2 goals. He was part of the side that went on to win the Austrian Cup, and they only just fell short in the Austrian Bundesliga as well. So he was very, very close to winning a double. So absolutely brilliant signing. I think it would be an overlooked gem in my opinion.
Nice, like it, Glenn. Have you heard of him?
Nope.
No, I don't think anybody has, to be fair, mate. But no, great shout. To be fair, Cam, I know you mentioned him on our group chat that we've got, and I actually Googled him afterwards when you mentioned his name. And yeah, no, I think that's a great shout. He's still, like you said, I think he's only 21, and he's got some good stats behind him being that young as well. So yeah, good shout. Like that one. My second one is going to be my loan signing, and it's going to be Harrison Murray Campbell. He's 18, is at Chelsea. He can play with both feet, so he can play anywhere across that back four again. And he's actually played in Europe. He's played in the Conference League. He played against, I think it was Shamrock Rovers. He came on for 38 minutes. Shamrock did score, but he came on afterwards, so they'd already scored that goal. So he actually kept a clean sheet for the length of time that he was on for. Like you said, he's got 2 good feet. He can play with both, so he can cover that whole of that back four if needed, if we were ever in desperate need. So again, utility player, still young, but he's got that experience there as well. Have you heard of him, Cam? What do you think about him?
I haven't, but if it's similar to the sense where like if you're at a Man City, you're at Chelsea, there's something about you really highly rated. And funny enough, later on in the series, there is a Chelsea youngster that I'll mention, but he's just not a centre half, so we'll have to wait until then. But
excellent. Okay.
Yeah, very impressive.
Nice, Glenn.
Not somebody I've heard of, but I will be potentially mentioning a Chelsea youngster next as my shout.
Okay, fair enough. Right, so I'm going to go next. This is where we spend a little bit of money on this one. So I've done my free, I've done my loan, and this is where we spend a bit of money. So it's a team where they're strapped for cash. He is in his last year of his contract at Sheff Wednesday, and it's Deshaun Bernard. He's 24. He can play as a right back as well. We've got that Jamaican connection with Joel Latabodiere already. He's scored 2 goals, and I think he's valued about €3.5 million. So I think 2 million or somewhere around there might get him. But he's young, he's physically strong, he's got good attributes, and he's played at this level before. So again, I think we should be targeting these sort of teams with good players that are strapped for cash and need to maybe sell a little bit. How do you think to him, Cam?
I know that Jamie Allen's not going to love it because I think he's still got a scar on his cheek from when he elbowed him.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Get Jamie Allen out of his club just for his safety. But in all seriousness, I like him. He's aggressive. Sometimes he does cross the line into violent. However, that violent streak I think we could nurture and help him improve further as a player. So yeah, I like that shout.
Okay, Glenn.
No, don't want him. I think Sheffield Wednesday league goals for fun, so I don't particularly think he's value for money.
Okay, fair enough. Cameron, your third and last one.
My third and last one. I did promise myself throughout the series I'm going to try and squeeze a few Scottish players in. And my first one is John Souttar from Rangers. He has a solitary year left on his Rangers deal. It was a very difficult season for Rangers, but in my opinion, Souttar was one of their better performers. I thought he was really good in large parts of the season. My main concern with Souttar is injuries. He does pick up the odd injuries, had a few pretty horrible injuries in his career. But I think what you're getting with him is a combative defender who likes to tackle. He's really good in the air, very solid. And he's a full-blown Scotland international as well. 1 year left on his deal. I don't think Ranger. If a decent offer comes in, I don't think we'd have to offer too much because of his contract length. Maybe we could tempt Rangers since Rangers are in a rebuild.
Okay, is he Harry Souttar's brother by any chance?
That's right. Yeah, he is Harry. He is Harry Souttar's brother. It's just that Harry decided to represent Australia.
Yeah. Okay. Sound. What do you think to Souttar at Rangers, Glenn?
I think he's a decent shout. I wouldn't mind his brother, but his brother's on stupid money. But yeah, you only got to look at the impact he made at Sheffield United. His brother Harry, they were pretty much goal scorable against when he was playing with Ahmedovich and Cooper. And then when he did his Achilles, they started leaking goals for fun. So if he's half as good a defender as his brother is, he'd be a good signing.
Nice. Okay. Glenn, your third and last one, please.
I'm going to cheat a little bit because I've had an update today about somebody who may be coming in, which was a rumour mill on X, and then a name that I shouted out. So I'm going to do the rumour one that I heard today. Okay. Somebody reliably on X said that Alfie Gilchrist from Chelsea is on his way to us, which obviously he plays right back. He can play centre half. I'm not overly stuck on him as a right back. I don't think he's as good at right back as he is at centre half.
Okay.
But I think he would be somebody that he's probably well down the pecking order at Chelsea. And I can see Lampard using the Chelsea connections to get him in, whether it be a loan or a permanent signing, I don't know. I think Middlesbrough will also link with him, and obviously Adi Vivash has gone there now, so we may well have competition for Chelsea signings. So that's the kind of one I've heard today. So it's worth mentioning him. And the other one I was looking at was a flip between a few different names. I'm going to give Ben Mee a shout out, but I think he'll stay at a Premier League club. But I think on a free transfer, he would be someone who would be a good short-term option. But I looked at another player who's been quite good and he's on the verge of international recognition in Northern Ireland. Is Owen Toll, Toal. He plays centre-half for Bolton. He had a really good season for Bolton when they got to the playoff final and lost to Oxford. He wasn't as good last season, but to be fair, Bolton weren't that good last season at all anyway. But he's somebody, I think he's still quite young. I think he's 24, 25, so he could still develop. I think we may be able to pick him up on a decent fee.
Nice. Ben Mee is a great shout, by the way. I would love Ben Mee, but I think his wages would be too big. And I think you're right. I think he will stay in the Premier League. I think somebody in the Premier League will pick him up for a free transfer, even if it's maybe like a Wolves or, maybe even a Leeds or something like that, or a Sunderland, to give them that experience. What do you think to them suggestions, Cam?
I do. I like it. I can see why Alfie Gilchrist would be plausible. The connection, it's pretty self-explanatory. He's had a season in the Championship. Sheffield United, will they revisit him? Probably not. I think his game time might reduced a bit towards the end of the season, which kind of suggests maybe he's not in their plans. But that doesn't mean he's a bad player. It was his first loan, and I can see how that would work. And with Ben Mee, that's a great suggestion. I think he's a brilliant player, but obviously wages could be a stumbling block. Owen Toll, I don't think he played much last season because I think he struggled with injuries. I think I'd actually played a big part in Bolton's less than spectacular season, in my opinion. But he's on the verge of a Northern Ireland team. I wouldn't be surprised if a few Championship sides did have a look at him because I think he is ready for that step up.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. Just one last question for both of you before I do let you go. So we have 4 centre backs that I've mentioned. I want you to tell me how many stay and how many go and how many new come in. So I'll go to Cameron first. So out of the 4, Cam, how many stay?
I think 3 will stay.
Okay. How many new ones do you think come in?
I reckon it should be 1 in, 1 out.
1 in, 1 out. Okay. Glenn?
I probably would say, I think probably 3 stay. I think 1 possibly goes out. I'm undecided on whether it's Binks or Kitchen. I think Binks I would maybe loan out because I think there is potential there. And I think we'll probably see 2 or 3 come in, but I think we'll probably see a centre half who can play a different position as well, like
a right back or a left
yeah,
back.
so like a Gilchrist. I think we'll see maybe a Gilchrist come in, and then I think we'll definitely maybe bring in another right centre back, and definitely we'll need another left centre back if Binks goes out on loan or whatever. Yeah.
Okay. I think out of the 4, me personally, I think 2 leave, and I think 3 come in, and one of them will be a utility player, like Glenn's just mentioned, that can play on the left or right back kind of position, sort of thing as well. So that's what I think.
Well, like you mentioned on the previous one, we mentioned Perry and G. I mean, he can play anywhere across the back foot. Yeah. So that to me is a no-brainer. Brain signing or someone in that ilk. I think if you go down the route of you like going and getting like a Rob Holding, he's basically a right-sided centre half, and that's it. Yes. And you're kind of limited. And I think that's the problem we've got with Thomas, Kitchen, and Binks to a degree. They can't really play any other positions. I would like to see Binks maybe given a run as a left back, but we're not really going to do that when we've got 3 other left backs as an option. But I think he could do the role that kind of Callum Doyle did. I'd love Callum Doyle back, but if Man City are asking for 10 million, there's no chance in hell. And really, he should be going to a Premier League club or going abroad.
Yeah, totally agree. If we're even in the running for Callum Doyle, I would snap your hands off right now. Even if it's an option of 5 million up front, and if we get promoted, another 5 million to make the 10 up or whatever. I would do anything to get Doyle because I think he is that good. If he can stay away from injuries, because he did have that bad injury at Leicester, but if he can stay, injury free, for me it's a no-brainer for Callum Doyle. You get him, you pretty much get him for me at all costs, and him and Thomas would be maybe your centre half pairing for next year. With Brown left back and maybe Milan, maybe. Obviously, we've been linked with Kessler Hayden as well, haven't we, at right back? So, and then you've got Gilchrist as an option. But, as we've already, we haven't already mentioned, but, with loan players coming in, their homegrown teams are expecting them to play, so it's going to be interesting to see how many loans we get in, because we didn't have any last year. So it'll be interesting if we have any this year, or whether we just go for maybe a loan signing to a permanent deal. That's the type of option that I would want for Callum Doyle, most definitely. Do you agree with that, Cam?
Yeah, I think if we got Callum Doyle, I think that'd be bigger than any signing we've made in years. Just because I think when we had Callum Doyle, he's had more Championship player style since then. Even though he might have had mixed reviews at Leicester, mixed reviews at Norwich, he probably is a better player now than the Callum version of Callum Doyle that we had. He's had more experience. He'll be more mature. And I think that version of Callum Doyle could be very dangerous. It's just obviously, do I think it's likely? I really don't. But stranger things are happening because I remember thinking we had no chance of signing Van Ewijk and we signed him.
Yeah. Excellent. Right. Thank you very much both for joining me once again. Obviously, it is a shorter one this time because we've only been speaking about the centre-backs. The first one, was a little bit longer, went to the hour mark or just over because we spoke about the goalkeepers and full-backs. So these next ones will be a little bit shorter because we just talked about one position. So once again, Cameron, thank you very much for joining me. Look forward to the next one, and the same for you, Glenn, as well. Just before we do go, remember where you can find us. We're available on X, Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube. Please go and like and subscribe. If you listen to us on podcasts, please go and rate us 5 stars. We are available on all platforms on there, Spotify, Amazon, iTunes, and wherever else that you get your podcasts from. We are sponsored by Right Steel Fabrications. We are partnered with the Antidote Sports Bar and the Sky Blue Tavern. We're also in association with the Sports Social Network and Coventry Ladies as well. So on that note, thank you very much for listening. Much appreciated, and play up Sky Blues. Cheers, guys.
Thank you.